Hey guys, welcome back to the Grinder Shootout. If you don't remember, I'm Kyle from Black and White. I'm one of the owners here. And in a past life, I worked in coffee grinders. So we're just going to go through a couple of grinders today, talk about what they taste like. Not so much what the user experience is like, but more just how they taste to me and how they're different or how they're similar. Cool. Today, the grinders we're going to be taking a look at are these two here. This is the Fellow Opus, and this is the Pinecone Pinion. So full disclosure, our companies are very involved with these two companies. Fellow, we do the drops as well as other stuff. And then Pinecone is kind of a subsidiary of GH Grinding and Brewing Solutions, my old boss in Durham, which is when I worked in grinders way back when now, I guess. So the Pinion maybe is a little bit unknown to you, but I'll talk a little bit more about that kind of as we go and what makes it special. Again, not super much about the UX, but really just about what the coffee tastes like. So, through the magic of cinema, I've already brewed these coffees. And like always, this is brewed on the Pour Steady. This is a Origami Air with a Cerberus Fast filter right at 1.35 TDS. So, we'll get into it. They've been blinded to me. Even Dorian off screen kind of blinded me again. So, I truly have no idea which one I'm tasting. We're really just going to talk about what the coffee tastes like itself, and then which one I think tastes better. Pretty simple. Let's go. If you're eagle-eyed, you might see a dot on one of them. Thankfully, I can't see. Today we brewed the house that Geisha built, which is the birthday release for Black and White. This is our 7-year anniversary, and so this is a blend of 10 different Geisha coffees. Love it or hate it, it's incredible. So yeah, we're going to brew a lot of florals, a lot of citrus, some pretty wild fruity characteristics as well. And we'll go through, see which grinder kind of pulls out which kind of parts of that brew or showcases which part's better. We do have a conical versus flat burr grinder here today, so it's going to be pretty different as far as textural and maybe even expression of flavors in general. The aroma of this first cup is super floral, big white flowers, jasmine, lemongrass, bergamot, kind of the standard stuff, and a little bit of kind of like fleshy fruit back there, plum, peach, something like that. Second cup is a little different, honestly. I'm going to kind of rinse the cup just in case. I call this getting dirty cupped. Basically, sometimes you don't wash a cup perfectly, and there's a little bit of residue of that kind of water that's left in there. So we'll see if I got it all out. Cool. Flood back around to kind of standard, which is, it happens. It's part of the deal. But yeah, smell your cups before you put coffee in them. It's kind of a weird thing to do, but especially at competition. Smell your stinking cups. Sometimes you'll have like a little bit of like soap residue or a little bit of kind of just funky water in there. And I've talked to numerous judges, and they're like, yeah, I got this really odd, like dirty cup smell on Espresso 4 or whatever. Like, well, crap, that sucks. All that time, all that effort just to get ruined by a dirty cup. Cool. Let's get to tasting. Wow, light, bright, vibrant. It's kind of got this like kind of hard candy thing, like the outside of a Tootsie Pop is kind of where my brain goes right now. The raspberry Tootsie Pop. That's a very random note. I'm so sorry. But yeah, more on like the cooked citrus and full round stone fruity stuff on this first cup. Still very geisha. Still very house that Geisha built. Second cup. A little bit fuller, a little bit rounder. Not quite as like big high notes as far as the fragrance and aroma goes, but definitely similar. Honestly, more different than I expected, to be very honest. This is I've tasted both these grinders before, but never kind of side by side like this. Texturally pretty different, like really big, really round, really full. Like, yeah, a little bit less articulated maybe in the flavor notes, a little bit more close together, if that makes sense. I think about flavor notes as like spread apart and really open, or kind of closed off and a little close together. That's how we talk about it a lot of times. Just tastes a little bit tight, if you want to use that particular word. These cool down a little bit. Yeah, more of the, a little bit less of the citrus, a little bit more of like the fruit and the full and the round, like more peachy, more cherry, more like even some chocolates in there as well, which is kind of interesting. That really didn't exist in the first cup. Wow, going back to the first cup, it's a super, super, super different experience. Like honestly, way different than I expected. Maybe not way different, but definitely more different than I expected. Wow, this first cup is like very big, very classic geisha, floral, citrus, stone fruit stuff, which kind of what this blend is kind of built on. Really great acid, really transparent flavors. Wow, I'm actually really impressed with this first cup. This is like if I didn't know any better, I would think this first cup was off like a full-on like commercial grinder. Yeah, I'm really happy with the flavor profile for filter for that coffee. All right, through the magic of cinema, we've let these coffees cool all the way down to where I feel like they're typically the most transparent. For me, like the coolest cups, so just above body temperature, are where you're going to see the most clarity of the brew itself. Where you will kind of be, some of the other stuff might fall away, but you'll see really well how it was extracted. So let's go back and taste these coffees one more time. What I really love about cup one is like the crispness of the acidity. The acidity is still really citric, even though it's quite cold, without any like kind of underlying funky, savory notes that kind of pop up as coffees cool down if the extraction's a little bit off. Extraction's maybe a little bit low, if you want to call it that, or maybe better describe it as uneven. And then cup two. Super lovely, a little bit more like tartaric, a little bit more wild, or not maybe not wild, but a little bit more kind of fruit candy-esque. So again, these grinders are just showing different parts of the same coffee, which is really, really fascinating. 95% of this coffee is washed geisha, and the other 5% is like funky geishas. So some co-ferments, some thermal shock stuff. But it's wild that cup one is really showcasing more of the classic geisha profile, and cup two is showing more of that, the funky geisha profile, even though they're from the same bag, same roast date. So I'm led to believe this is going to be the Pinion, and this is going to be the Opus. But honestly, these coffees are, neither coffee is bad. I want to make sure that we understand that. I'm not saying that this grinder or this grinder is good and this grinder is bad, or cups from this grinder are always going to be good and cups from this grinder are always going to be bad. That's definitely not the truth. They're just different. A little bit more clear, a little bit more clean, a little bit more rounded, full, and fruity, if you will. So if you like big, like medium plus roasted coffees that are big and fruity and intense, maybe a grinder like this maybe actually be better for you than the Pinion. But if you want to kind of explore deeper into the florals and stuff like that, I think maybe the Pinion may be a little bit better use of your money. Let's look at these grinders and see which one ended up taking the win. So my assumption is I like the cup here, cup one, and cup two I'm assuming is the Opus. The Opus had a dot. So let's see if we were correct. I was correct. Again, two grinders pretty different in price point, pretty different in burr, diameter, geometry, all that good stuff, and also very different in cup profile. So again, miles may vary. Enjoy. We'll see you again soon.